Namaste. All right, guys. Okay, well, I want to do a quick instructional video on this activity that I'm assigning you. All right, and okay, so just take a look at it. All right, you should see I scanned it in. You should see this chart right here, and then on the back of this, which I have upside down, nice. Okay, you should see this chart right here. All right, and then on the back of this are some questions, and then you should see a graph that looks like this right here. Okay, and you can call that up as you need to. What I wanted to do is really take a look at this graph, because it's not hard, but it's a little bit different type of graph than you're used to. This scale right here, this vertical axis is luminosity. Remember, this is an HR diagram, Hertzsprung-Russell, and it's a diagram that we use to categorize stars, and we graph them by luminosity. So this is down here is dim, this is bright, so up here is luminosity, and then over here is heat, or how hot it is, and it works backwards. Instead of like cool being over here and hot here, okay, it works backwards. This over here is hot, and you can see the numbers is like 45,000 degrees, and then as you go further away it gets cooler, so it's a little bit backwards. And this scale here is also what's called a logarithmic scale, so it doesn't go up by like from 0, 10, 20, 30. It goes up by powers of 10. It also goes down by powers of 10. And the middle point is actually right here, the number 1. Okay? It's not hard. You still do it just like any other graph, and I'll do some numbers for you. But let me point out, okay, and you can see. All right, so I drew the graph for you on the board here. So here's number 1. Number 1, we give our own sun the luminosity of 1. We just say that, so we base how bright or dim all other stars are off of our sun. So the sun's brightness is number 1, all right? So the sun is right in the center in terms of brightness, okay? And then the next lineup is 10. The next lineup from that is not 20, it's 100. So be careful. It's not, it's not hard, but you just got to pay attention to what you're doing. And then up from that is 1,000, 10,000, and I think 100,000, which I couldn't fit on the chalkboard. All right, and 45,000, 25,000, 11,750, and so on. And this is the temperature in degrees Kelvin, okay? Now, what I want to do, I want you guys to take a look and call up, while you're watching this video, all right, put up another tab, and let me show you how to graph these right here. Now, just like when we were graphing earthquakes, you don't need every single column. In fact, the first two, where it says visual, and then the next one is distance, you guys can just put a line through this one and this column. We don't need that. What we need is the one that says temperature in Kelvin, and the one that says luminosity. Tracking with me on that? Okay, so get rid of this, keep this, and keep that. Okay, all right, and let me graph a few stars for you. I'm going to start off with the sun. All right, now if you're looking at that, the sun has a temperature in kelvins of 5,800 degrees, okay, and it has a luminosity of 1. So I'm just reading. These are the same numbers that are on the worksheet that I gave you. All right. So if you look at where the sun is number 1. All right. So the sun has 5,800. So I'm going to look for that, and then its luminosity is number 1. So track with me on that, and I'm going to graph it right now. So the sun, I'm going to look on the temperature line. Here's 5,000. Here's 6,000. So 5,800 would be in between the two, but closer to 6, and then has a luminosity of 1, so it would go right there. And we would plot our sun right there. Now remember, this is an HR diagram, so as you plot, and it was kind of like when we were plotting earthquakes, how I gave you a whole bunch of earthquakes to plot, and you were able to see, when you plotted them out, you were able to see where the plates of the earth are. here I'm giving you a whole bunch of stars to plot out, and when you do, you're going to see most of them are going to fall along here, and this is going to be your main sequence. And if you get the main sequence, if you're as you're plotting, you see most of them in this region right here, you know you're doing it right. And then I'm going to ask that you take a picture of that or scan it in some way and then send it back to me on Classroom so I can see, okay, and check off that you did it. All right, take a look, and we're going to go down to the next star, which is Alpha Centauri A, okay? And Alpha Centauri A is the same temperature as the sun, which we can tell by the light that it gives off, and its luminosity is a little bit brighter than the sun. It's 1.5. Okay, so here we go. So same temperature. I'm going to go up to 1.5. Now be careful, because this is 10 up here, so it's a little bit above the sun. And that's Alpha Centauri A, would be like right there. Let me just bring you closer. Okay, so you can see them. All right, they're right on top of each other. All right, now the next one, I'm going to go now contrast that with Alpha Centauri C. And you know there's 3 Alpha Centauris. The star Alpha Centauri, which is the closest star to us, is actually 3 stars. It's a trinary system. Okay, Alpha Centauri A, Alpha Centauri B, Alpha Centauri C. Anyway, the C is the smallest one, and look, its temperature is 2800. Okay, and now look, its luminosity is 0.1230001, so 3 zeros and a 1. Okay, so watch how I do this. All right. So Alpha Centauri C, I'm going to look for the temperature. All right, it's 2800, so that would be just on this side of the 3000. All right, so somewhere around there. And its luminosity is, watch it, 3 zeros and a 1. Well, that's right here. It's right on this line. Okay, so I'm going to go here. And I know I didn't draw the straightest lines, but I did it freehand. And that's there. So that's Alpha Centauri C. I'm going to do one more for you. All right. And this is, so if you scroll down a little bit on that list, you'll see the star Wolf 359. All right. And its temperature is 2700. It's very dim. Its luminosity is, now watch, 0, 0, 0, 0, 4 zeros and a 3. Okay, so watch how I do this. So its luminosity would be 2800, but its or its temperature would be 2800, but its luminosity would be 0.00003, so 4 zeros and a 3. So I go down, and you see at the bottom there's the line is 4 zeros and a 1. Okay, so 4 zeros and a 3 would be a little bit above 4 zeros and a 1. So Wolf 539 would be right here, a little bit above this line, and would be over there. Cool on that? I'm going to do one more, just so I have a warm, fuzzy feeling that you're going to start, that you're starting to get it. So I'm going to do, let's see, okay, number 14, 61 Cygni A, okay? And I'm looking at it, and its temperature is 4200. All right, so 4200. And its luminosity is 0.084. And I think you guys can see that. Okay, so let me graph 61 Cygni A, which is number 14 down, and watch how I do it. Okay, so 4200, so here's that's in between the 3000 and the 5000, so it's 4000 would be right in between, so 4200 is a little bit like over there. Okay, so it's somewhere here on the temperature line. And now the brightness is 0.084. Now watch, the key is looking at the zeros. So 0.084, here's 0.1, here's 0.01. Okay, so notice there's 1 0. Here's the line that has 1 0 and then a number. So here's 1 0 and a 1, 1 0 and an 8. would be a bit above the 1, 0, and a 1. Okay, so I'm going to go 4,200, and I go up to the line that has point, and then a 1, 0, and a 1, and I'm going to go a little bit above that, and there's 61 Cygni A right there. I hope you're noticing these are starting to form like a diagonal. All right. Okay, so I'm going to let you guys try it. Do your best on that. I'll try and take questions, okay, when I'm available for questions. You guys can, log into me and whatever. And one last thing I want to say about it is this is grouped into 3 regions, okay? So, or actually 3 groups. So here, this is these stars are in what is called group number 1. These stars, then it says group 2. Okay, you don't have to do anything differently. Just graph them. Now what you're gonna see is group 2 is going to be in a different section of this graph. When you graph those, they probably won't be the same. You probably won't find them in the same place as you find group number 1. And then on the back is group number 3. Okay, and then I want you to answer the questions. How is group 2 different from group 1 on the graph? Explain to me what the main sequence is and why aren't groups 2 and 3 on the main sequence. So tell me, groups 2 and 3, those are not main, I'll tell you right now, I'll let it out. They're not main sequence stars, but tell me what type of stars would group number 2 be and what type of stars would group number 3 be based on where you see them on the HR diagram. Okay, so I would expect that you send me a picture of your graph and your answers. Okay, now, this would require printing out. So if you have a printer, obviously print it out and then take a picture of it or scan it. If you don't have a printer, it took me all of 45 seconds to make this. So if you get yourself a ruler and a piece of paper, and then recreate this with a ruler and a piece of paper. All right, I know it's inconvenient, but what the heck, we're doing this remote and we're doing the best we can during the zombie apocalypse. Okay, so, and I expect that you all do your part. Tracking with me on that? Okay, all right, go this out and enjoy your apocalypse.